So there will be three coordinates, x comma y comma z. Okay, so there will be three coordinates, x comma y comma z. So I told you about three components, that is substrate and patch and ground. So first we'll draw the substrate. So generally a substrate will be of a 3D structure. So we'll go for a box. You can see here a box, draw box. So just click on it, and you can draw anywhere, like here, like anywhere you can draw, and we can change the coordinates. So in order to change the coordinates, we have to go here, the left side, left hand corner here, box one. Double click on that. Here you can change the name of the box. Here I am giving it as a substrate, and we can change any kind of colors we want. So I'm going in for a light color, and I'm also reducing the transparency. I'm reducing the transparency because we could able to see through the substrate. We could see the grid through the substrate. It will be easier for us to design further parts of the antenna. So here you can see we can see the grid inside, even inside the substrate. So in order, while drawing patch, it will be easier for us to draw with the grid. And next I'll be telling about coordinates. So when you click this create box, like in the, if you, substrate will be there. So click the plus, so it will expand, and it will, and a create box will come. So click the create box, and here you can see the tab called position. It represents coordinates of the substrate. So this is x comma y. It is in the format x comma y comma z. That is 1.1 is x, 1.2 minus 1.2 is y, and 0 is z. So now I'm trying to change it to 0. I'm just changing everything to 0. 0 comma 0. Sorry. 0 comma 0 comma 0. Click OK. Now you can see uh, the object position has been changed. I can show it again as well. Yeah, you can see it. The object position has been changed. You can draw wherever you want. Wherever you want, you can have your design based on your convenience. It's not like you have to draw here only. It's not like that. You can draw anywhere else. So I'll be drawing. I usually used to design by keeping the substrate in the center. So I'll go for to the center part. So I'll have here 30. My length is 30 mm, and my breadth is 30 mm. So Z size represents the height of the substrate. Since it is a 3D object, it will have a height. So the Z axis represents the height of the substrate. So I'll be giving around 1.6. It's just a random value, not a big deal. So okay, and here, hence I need to keep it in the center. I'm just giving 30 by 2. It's nothing but 15, 30 by 2. Apply. We have to take the minus here. Okay. Yeah. Now we have it in the center. So every side it will be equally distributed. Here, 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 here. Everywhere it will be equally distributed. So it will be easier for us to design. That is the only reason I'm keeping it in the center. So that's not a big deal. Anywhere you can keep. So this part is called the substrate. This is where we will keep our radiator. Radiator is the medium in which electromagnetic waves travel. So this is just a support kind of thing. It's object to support the radiator. Substrate is support, just a support. Okay. So next we'll draw the radiator. So now I'll be designing a normal rectangular patch antenna. Whenever you draw, you may keep it in top position. So it will be easier for you to draw. If it is in trimetric, your eyesight, line of sight will not be in the correct position. So you can keep it in the top orientation. And just randomly, I'm drawing as of now. I selected the rectangle from here. Draw rectangle. So I have drawn a rectangle now, and so this is the radiator. So usually a radiator will be on the top of the substrate, and the ground will be at the bottom of the substrate. So as I said, it will have three coordinates: x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. We have to check that whether the radiator is at the bottom or at the top. So I'm going to the rectangle, create rectangle, double click it, and here you can see -13 comma -13 comma 0. 0 represents the bottom position of the substrate. I can show it in the side view so that it will be clear. See, here you can see it is in the bottom. Now I'm changing it to 1.6. I am going for value of 1.6 because the substrate value here we have given Z size is 1.6. The height of the substrate is 1.6. So for rectangle, here I'm double clicking it, and I'm just replacing the value with 1.6 mm. Whenever you give any values here, you need to mention it's in mm. Okay, not in meters. Usually it might be in meters or centimeters. So you have to change that to mm. Also, one more thing you can change. You have to go to modeler, units, and here you can select the units you need. Even if you are designing your antenna for in centimeters, you can go for centimeters. If you are designing your antenna in inches, you can go for inches. So I'm going for millimeters. Click OK. So everything will be in millimeters now. So you can see here the antenna, the radiator, its position, its first position is in the ground. I mean, Z is equal to 0. Now when I shift it to 1.6, now it is coming up. So this is where the radiator must be placed. Now we have to place our feed point. We have to place a feed point. Generally, a radiator cannot radiate on its own. We need to give some source, some power supply. So for that, we will be drawing a strip line. From there, we will be giving the source or voltage. So I'm keeping into the top orientation. So now we have drawn the strip. This is called as feed line. That is where we will feed the voltage, feed the power, like that. Okay. So for this, even we need to check the z-axis because it is in the bottom position of the substrate. So the rectangle, click rectangle 2. We have to replace it with 1.6 mm. Now you can see it has come to the top. Yeah. Now we can change the name because we may get confused when we draw many rectangles and other shapes. So it is better to give names before we start with other components. Sorry. So I will give this as feed line. You can use underscores while giving names. That is also there. Okay. Now this is a separate object, and this is a separate object, as you can see. Now this could not be a separate object if it is a single radiator. So we must unite it together in order to make it as a single object. So I am clicking the patch first, and next by controlling by pressing the control key in your keyboard, I'm clicking the feed line, and then I'm uniting it. Here you can see unite option. And also you can use one more way, like right click, edit, Boolean, unite. This you can note it down. So edit, Boolean, and unite. So I've united it. Now you can see here in this side part, unassigned part, patch is there, and below that one portion called unite is there. So for unite, If you expand the unite, you can see the object which has been united. If you don't want to unite, you can simply click the unite, delete it. I mean, press the delete button in your keyboard, so it will be again into two separate objects. Now I need to unite it, so I will unite it. I click edit, boolean unite. So our top radiator part is over. So this is where our electromagnetic waves will travel through this feed line, where we'll give voltage. And the next thing is about ground part. That is where the electromagnetic waves will get reflected back into the patch. So we'll place a ground. So while placing a ground, you may go to the bottom orientation, or you can keep it in the trimetric orientation while drawing. So we have to draw it in the axis z is equal to 0. So, okay, now I have drawn a rectangle again. You can see here it is in the bottom and our patch is in the top. As I said, ground must be in the bottom of the substrate and the radiator must be on the top of the substrate. So now I'll change this name either ground. I'll change some colors now, and this one has some dark colors. So now our rectangular patch design is over, and now we need to give a port so that a voltage can be applied in that. So we need to, while giving for port, we have to select a rectangle and start from here. While drawing, you can see it comes in the XY plane, but we don't need a port in the XY plane. If we draw like this, a port is like this. See, you can see a line here. A port should not be like this. So a port will be a thing which will be connecting both the radiator and the ground. So if we want to connect the radiator and the ground, we have to change the orientation of the port. So I'm deleting this. I'm changing the plane here. So first it is in the XY plane. As you can see, it is in the XY plane. I'm changing that to YZ plane. While changing to YZ plane, you can see while drawing the rectangle, it will go from top to the bottom. See, it will be connecting the radiator to the ground. So I'll just while drawing, you can zoom a little bit inside. While you click on this, you will get a bigger square. So it means that you are exactly on the position. If you move a little further, see, you can see a rhombus. So it is not exact in that position. So while you keep in this, a bigger square will come. It means you are exactly placed on that position. So you can draw like this. So this is the port, and this is where we'll give voltage. And one more thing, if you zoomed inside like this, in order to get back to your the original size of the antenna, you have to click Control D. In your keyboard, if you click Control D, it will come. It will fit inside the window, as you can see here. Okay, we have drawn the port now, and soon after you draw the port, we have to change it to the XY plane. Now it has been changed to the XY plane. Okay, so now we have a patch which is radiator, and we have ground, and we have a port. I'll change the name as port with red color. Okay. So now usually a radiator will be of different materials like copper, gold, silver, aluminum. Like this, they will use. But the real cheapest thing is copper. So most of the antennas will be made of. I mean, the radiator part will be made of copper, as well as the ground. The radiator as well as the ground will be made of copper. So since it is a 2D object, we cannot give a material. So what we do is, you can clearly note this down. Click the patch, right click, assign boundary perfectly. So it means that we are defining some conductivity over it. Usually copper will conduct, right? So that is how we are just defining a conductive layer. That's it. assign boundary, perfect. Press OK. Now next one is ground. Right click, assign boundary, perfect, E. Now path has been designed, and it also have been assigned with as well as the ground with perfect E. Now we have to assign for the substrate. Substrate will have, usually microstrip antennas will be using FR4 epoxy substrate, that is fire resistant epoxy substrate, and many other substrates are there. For flexible substrates, it will be different. Many different substrates are there. So polymers they will use for flexible substrates, and for rigid substrates they will use Rogers as well as FR4, and many substrates are there. Based on a requirement, we can select our substrate. So here I am choosing FR4. So click on the substrate, right click, assign material. Here you can type FR4. It will come FR4 epoxy. Click that, give up. Now see, you can visualize it has come. FR4 epoxy has come. Okay. So everything has been assigned except port. While assigning port, you can change the orientation to front. If you give, sometimes people will draw a rectangle here, they will give feed line here, and they will be giving the port here. So at that time, the orientation based on your design, you can change the orientation, right, left, or front, or back, whatever it may be. So I have designed my port in such a way that it is in the front orientation. So I click on the front orientation. So click on the port, right click, assign excitation. Here you should not go for assign boundary. You should go for assign excitation. Here we are exciting some voltage. So we need to go for assign excitation, lumped port. Next, integration line, new line. If you closely look here, you can see a triangle. You can see a triangle. You can zoom in. You can see a triangle. But if once you see a triangle, you just click on it, expand your line. Here you can see another triangle. See here, rhombus is coming. When you go exactly place on that position, you will get another triangle. Click on it. So here you will get defined. Sometimes we do make mistakes in this thing, especially. I'll just show lumped port. Next. See, if you place somewhere else, or if you're not placing your point correctly, it will come like defined invalid. Like that, it will come. So while placing the port, you should be careful that both the triangles, you are seeing both the triangles. Both the triangles. Next, here you can see defined. Sometimes when we make mistakes, it will come like defined invalid. It will come. So your port is not correct. Port definition is not correct. So you need to redefine the port. So now it is correct. So we'll go for the next thing. Next, finish. Now the whole antenna has been designed. Okay. So sometimes usually a patch will be easy, but while we go for slots, it will be a little difficult. You think how to draw a slot inside a patch, people will ask generally. So inside, if you want to make a hole, it's simple. It's not a big deal. Just click the rectangle. If you want a slot, just place a rectangle over the radiator. Check whether the Z axis is in 1.6, because if you want to make a slot in the radiator, you need to keep the Z in 1.6. For FR4 it is 1.6. For Rogers, the height will be different. So based on the material, the height of the substrate will be different. So yeah, now it has come up. If you want to make any slot in the ground, you can keep the Z axis 0. So I'm clicking the patch and the unassigned rectangle one, subtract. Here you can subtract. Right click, edit, Boolean, subtract. Click on it, you will get a hole. It's nothing but a hole. It's a slot. And if you want a circular slot, you can make it. Just click a circle, draw a circle. Check whether it is in 1.6 mm. Is that axis? So click the patch, circle, subtract. Now you can see a circular slot. So this is how we will draw slots on the radiator. Okay, now we need to assign a radiation box. So if we simply simulate this thing, it will be in free space. So it will exact value will not be obtained. So in order to check whether this antenna will work in the specific frequency, we need to draw a radiation box. So press Control A in your keyboard. Right click, create open region. So the operating frequency here we'll give for 5 gigahertz, just randomly. And here you nothing to change, only operating frequency you need to enter and you can give OK. That's it. You can see a box here. This is the radiation box, and inside this radiation box, how the antenna radiates. That is what the results we'll get at the end. So if you don't want to see this box, you can hide it here in the I option. Hide. You can hide it. Okay. So now we need to check whether our design is correct or not. So here go to HFSS, the top corner, validation check. Here we didn't do one step, analysis setup. That is where we'll give the input frequency. What in in which frequency the antenna is going to work. That we'll give. So here in the left hand corner, you can see analysis. So click analysis, right click, add solution setup. Here you can give the frequency whatever you want. For example, if you're working in 2.4, you can give 2.4. And if you are working in terahertz, you can change here to terahertz or gigahertz or megahertz, whatever it may be. Based on your requirement, you can draw. And the maximum number of passes, some 10 or 20 you can keep. Click OK. Now we need to set a range of we need to give a range so that the graph will be generated in that range, a frequency range. So give press plus, and here you can see below the analysis you can see setup one. Double click that. Sorry, right click that. Add frequency sweep. Here you can you press this linear count. You will get 3 options. Click on that linear step. So start frequency, I'll follow the same from 1 gigahertz to 10 gigahertz. If you want to change, you can change to 5 gigahertz either. Since our input frequency is 5 gigahertz, I'll give it from 1 to 10. Step size you can increase more so that you will get accurate answers. Click OK. Now everything has been done. Designing part is over. Now simulation part. So press HFSS, click HFSS here, validation check. Now you will get everything, you will get all tick marks, so that then your design is correct. So now we have to press HFSS, analyze all. Excuse me. Okay, now analyze all. Now now it will run. So for lower frequencies, the simulation speed will be higher. For higher frequencies, the simulation speed will be little lower. And based on your system configuration, like i7 processor, it will be fast, and for lower processors, the simulation speed will be little slow. As well, and your RAM memory also plays an important role in the simulation speed. Let's just wait for a few seconds. Yeah, our simulation is over. So first we'll go for S11 parameter. Generally, when you design an antenna or any other RF component, there is a parameter called S11, which means the measure of the reflected wave. So you are transmitting some electromagnetic wave through through a medium, and it transmits, and it will reflect back. So the measurement of the reflection is basically S11 parameter. So now we will go for S11 parameter. So in the left hand corner, you can, below the optometrics, you can see results. So press results, right click, create model solution data report, rectangular plot. If you click on that, you'll get like this. So S parameter is what we are going to see. It's 11 dB. We have to keep it in dB. Unit is dB. New report. Now we can see the antenna. The antenna radiates. Is not radiating in the required frequency what we need. So in order to make it work at 5 gigahertz, we have to tune the antenna so that it resonates at it resonates at 5 gigahertz. And the here, if you want to check in what frequency it is working, marker, add X marker, a yellow color thing will come like this. So double click on that, click 5, enter 5. So our antenna is not resonating, so we need to tune the antenna in order to make the antenna to work in 5 gigahertz. So right now, as of now, this antenna is working at 7 gigahertz, and basically you need to get good return loss. So our y-axis is return loss, and our x-axis is frequency. So we need, in order to make the antenna more efficient, we should get a good return loss of about more than 10 dB. Actually, more than it means it must come below -10. If you need a good return loss, it must be your return loss must be greater. I mean, greater than 10. So it must come here. It must come below 10, like -20, -25, -30. It means that the maximum power has been transferred, and the minimum there is minimum reflection. So if you are sending some mail and if it gets tagged, it is not going. So that is what I'm mentioning here. So a complete mail must go. If you send a message, if the half of the message goes and the remaining half is reflected back, that's not a good working antenna. So maximum of the information has to go. So that is why I am mentioning this threshold level as -10. So this part must come below the -10, so that the antenna will work in the required with required efficiency. Next, we'll go for another parameter called VSWR, voltage standing wave ratio. All these definitions you can go through Balanis book, Constantine A. Balanis, book from the title of the book is Antenna Theory. So you can look over that book for all the definitions for return loss, VSWR, gain, directivity, radiation pattern, everything. So this is, I'm just telling about here it in the simulation. I could you can check all the definitions there in the book. So here, so I'm pressing again results, right click, create model solution data report, rectangular plot, VSWR. Here, for VSWR there is no unit, so we can give report. So generally, the threshold level of VSWR is from 0 to 1. So your value must lie from 0 to 1. So for 5, our VSWR is far more than 1. So we need to tune it. For tuning purpose, you can change the length and width of the the radiator. And in Balanis book, there are formulas for length and width of the radiator. You can manually calculate, and you can design the antenna. When you manually calculate and design the antenna, you can see the required results what you need. And next is we'll see about gain. So for gain, go for results, right click, create far fields report, radiation pattern. click on it. You can see here gain total. So you can keep this in dB, new report. Here you need to change the geometry to elevation. Now we can see. This is the gain of when phi is equal to 0 and phi is equal to 90. So all these theoretical part only if you learn from the book you can understand the theoretical part, but so that you can compare your theoretical part with the this one practical one. So next we'll see one more last thing, directivity. So here you can, first we have checked for gain, now we will check for directivity. New report. We need to change it to elevation or azimuth, whatever you may need. Azimuth. Okay. Yeah. So this is the actually directivity, gain, and radiation pattern all represents the same, but has a little bit different meaning. That's it. All will look same, but it will have different meaning. Directivity represents the direction of the beam, and radiation pattern represents the coverage area, and gain represents the transmission rate. So this is all about designing a rectangular patch antenna. You can design circular patch antenna by, instead of keeping a rectangle, you can place a circle, and you can check for circular patch antenna, and many other patch antennas you can make. And you can check a YouTube channel, ANSYS. From ANSYS, they have made a YouTube channel. So there you can see many kind of antennas they will be designing. And once you practice, you will get familiar with all the tools, whatever you have in the software. So that's all for today. Thank you.